It's Thursday, January 7th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, a guy who coined the phrase, Deshaun who? J.P. Shadrick.
That wasn't me. Welcome in Jaguars Happy Hour on a Thursday. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman coming up. We'll have Tony Boselli. Busy show today. A lot going on in Jaguar land. Lot J meetings going on at City Council. We'll stay off of that for the most part today, but a lot of football things happening. And yes, head coach and GM searches continue, as does the search for a franchise quarterback. That search could be coming to an end in April. We'll touch on the big name that came out for the draft earlier this week. Tony Boselli at 4:30 today, fresh off a meeting with Snoop Dogg. Yes, we will get his thoughts on that and much more around the Jaguars from the Hall of Fame finalist. And then the second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour on the network at 5 o'clock. Jeff Lageman with us now, and here we go, Logs. The offseason is here. A long season of football, 15 straight losses, but it's in the rear view now. We don't have to worry about that anymore. It's all about the future now.
Yeah, it is. Everybody's looking forward to the decision-making and the positions that are going to be filled with great anticipation. But just to take a moment, JP, I know you and I both have enjoyed working with Doug Marrone.
No doubt.
And we've had many, many good moments with Doug and appreciate his willingness to participate. And he was always great to us. And nobody wanted this football team to win more than Doug. And so I appreciate him. I really do, and I wish him the best. I wish his family the best, and I know that he's going to land on his feet okay. But I just wanted to put that out there because, the position that kind of we're in and working with coaches and stuff, I mean, there has to be a relationship, and it has to be on both sides. And we have to give, and Doug has to give to be able to make this entertaining and informative for the listeners. And Doug was willing to do that, and I really appreciate Doug for that.
No doubt, and the best to him and Helen and the kids, and I'm sure I'm going to guess he's probably on some voyage somewhere just to get away for a little bit, and then, like you said, I think he will land on his feet sooner rather than later as a position coach, really whatever he wants to be in the NFL. I think there will be options for him in this league.
Yeah, when you sign up to be a coach, I mean, make no mistake about it, that you know that things are going to change. I mean, that's just the nature of the business, and it doesn't matter whether you're at the pro level, whether you're at the collegiate level, it's going to change. And so it's not unexpected. But I think the hard part is being able to adjust and adapt in the family at home. And because, look, kids want to grow up and you got a lot of peer, I don't want to say pressure, but peer criticism. Oh, they want to have an opinion about your dad and about the football team. And sometimes it can be flat out mean. And so the kids of coaches sometimes have to put up with a lot. And the wives of coaches have to put up with a lot. And so a little bit of kudos to the coaches' wives and kids because it's never easy to go through a change, and even though that it's expected at that position, sometimes it's still very hard for the family members.
So, of course, that was Monday morning. Doug Marrone was relieved of his duties about 9 o'clock, and then around 10:30, Jaguars owner Shad Khan met with the media for the first time in a long time, discussing everything football-related. And now 2 openings on the football side. The general manager gig's been open for a little bit now, and now the head coach job is open as well for the Jaguars. And one of his comments, we'll hear a few of them throughout the show here, of course, but how will this flow chart work for the Jacksonville Jaguars with Shad Khan at the top?
A key thing how, we would be structuring this is that I'm going to have the general manager and the head coach report directly to me. And that way, really, you have the transparency and the needs and the concerns of both parties without really getting filtered or having a chain of command. So, and that's really what necessitates that you basically hire them about the same time. and really you have a perfect alignment, which you need in a winning organization.
So there you have it. Jaguars owner Shad Khan earlier this week on Monday discussing that flow chart. And, I don't know of many organizations that do it like that, but to have equal conversation with the GM and the head coach, equal status, equal say, and separately to the owner, it eliminates any finger pointing or any of that kind of thing if Shad Khan is the ultimate judge.
Yeah, JP, I think that setup actually exists more than you think in the National Football League, because general managers, for the most part, aren't allowed to just hire and fire the head coach willy-nilly or because they wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I mean, they still have to gain approval from ownership. So I think that's probably more common than anything in the National Football League, and for me, it makes sense. If an interesting statement there when he says that there's no filter that way.
Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes that what can happen is that if you have a general manager who hires a head coach, and the chain of command works as the coach reports to the general manager, and then the general manager reports to the owner, then this filter that I think Shad is referring to can mean that, look, the general manager might think that the players on this football team are good enough to win, and it's the coach's fault. The coaches are not doing a good enough job. And coach says that I'm doing a great job with personnel. Well, maybe that's not what the coach is saying.
Right.
And the coach is saying, look, I got to have better players to win. And so the filter is removed because the coach would report directly to ownership. I think it's the only way to set it up. And most importantly, the owner has to be involved from the standpoint of, because if he's not, then there's a lack of accountability. And I think there has to be accountability. And by dividing it up to where the coach and the general manager both report to the owner, both of them now have to be accountable. And so I think it's the only way to set things up in the National Football League to have success, unless you have a general manager like an Ozzie Newsome, who you completely respect and completely trust, and who has a proven track record. The last thing in the world that you want to do is to hire a general manager, which hiring a general manager is not easy to do, JP.
No.
And we can get into this a little bit further, but think about it. How do you go about finding out if a general manager is good at what he does when he's never done it before? If you hire somebody that's green, you don't. So why should that general manager have more power than the coach, which it's a lot easier to find a track record with a coach than it is to find a track record with a general manager.
Right, and we saw that last time around with Dave Caldwell. It was his first time as the GM, and you just don't know how things are going to go, how picks are going to go, and you have to go play the games and the coaching changes and everything that happened here in those 8 years he was here.
I almost wish that if you have a job in personnel, and because we've seen how the management council and the group that they put together, and they put recommendations together for guys to get jobs. For me, why don't they have a personnel pot? When I say a personnel pot, okay, so everybody that's in the personnel department around the league that has aspirations of becoming a future general manager, why don't they put together their own separate draft board, put their name on it, okay, and it just gets put into a file every year. And nobody looks at it, because you don't want to end up sharing that information, because then obviously you could compromise certain draft rooms. But if everybody as an individual, the director of college personnel, the director of pro personnel, the director, the head of West Texas scouting, I mean, whoever wants to put in their list of the draft and put their draft order on a sheet of paper before the draft, turn it in, and then when the candidates start becoming available, ownership can go and say, you know what, we're looking at hiring Joe Schmo. Well, let's pull up Joe Schmo's list over the last 5 years and how he ranked the draft and compare it to how the drafts have turned out. So that way you'd end up having some information about how good personnel people are at, number one, picking players, because the last time I checked, that's the most important job description for the position as general managers, because it's a player-driven league. And so for me, in ownership, why wouldn't they help themselves in hiring people and have them do that on an annual basis? And then you can have some type of history to be able to look at and say, this guy really knows his stuff, or this guy, he doesn't know anything. He's terrible.
Right.
One or the other.
You know how it is, though, in the business. It's who you know to get you in the door. You still have to do the job and do it well, but you still have to have those contacts to get in the room. Look at Houston, for goodness sakes. What happened down there? Caserio got hired by basically Easterby. They had a search firm and everything, and it's the New England connection that got basically that job from all reports.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's not going to work for the Houston Texans. I mean, maybe it will.
Right, but that's life. I mean, that's life. It's not
and
just football. That's real life, too. That happens everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it may work. It may not. I don't know the answer to that, but it's very odd that you hire a firm to give you a list of names, and then all of a sudden the one that you hire is not on that list. I just find that really curious. And I think there's a lot of people in league circles that are looking at that situation. And I don't want to say that the Texans are the laughing stock of the league, because eventually the truth and the record will speak for itself. But there's a lot of people in the league and that are around the league, that cover the league, that are looking at that and sitting there kind of scoffing under their breath.
I need to start my own search firm. I'd make a lot more money, Logs. I got news.
We'll
for
call
you.
it the what should we call it? The JP search firm, right?
Right, that's catchy.
Why not?
Let me tell you, that'll bring them in.
Corn Shadrick, Corn Shadrick
Right.
firm.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
I like that. So that's the way it is. So obviously the interviews are going on for both roles really simultaneously, as you heard Mr. Khan there say earlier. Ideally, you hire them pretty close together so they are tied together, and whoever's hired first probably has a little bit of a say in the other person, vice versa. That's probably how this will work.
Yeah, I think that, and Shad talked about that, and he said that, ultimately that you like to do it together, because if you're a general manager, you want to know who the coach is going to be. And if you're a coach, you want to know who the general manager is going to be. And you'd like to have maybe some familiarity there to where there's going to be a real positive working, two guys working together, a little bit of energy and synergy. And so that's in a perfect world. But at the end of the day, if you all of a sudden you've got what you think is the best candidate at either position, general manager or head coach, and you're not quite sure what you're going to do at the other, and there's another team that's sitting there offering the guy that you love, and the guy's saying, hey, look, I really want to work for you, but I've got this offer and I've got to take care of my family. So you need to either, there's a term, and it's kind of poop or get off the pot. And so if that happens, then the team needs to move, then you got to move. But in a perfect world, like Shad said, you'd like to be able to hire them together so that there is the energy that's created together, and one knows who the other is, and they're going to be working together. So obviously you want to have kind of the approval of both of them in that situation.
No doubt. And now, no matter who they are, they'll likely pick a quarterback. And when we return, we'll get into the franchise quarterback discussion, including a key name that is coming out. He's going to the NFL draft. Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. Plenty of discussion about that in the months ahead, but it starts right after this timeout. We're off and running. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network. Jaguars fans, did you know that with Drizzly, you can get Tito's handmade vodka delivered to your door in under 60 minutes? Well, you can. And now they're giving all fans $10 off their first order. Use the code JAGS10 at checkout. Just download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com and make sure you're all set to mix it up with Tito's handmade vodka for the perfect game day. That's DRIZLY.com. And remember to use the special code JAGS10 to save $10 on your first order. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Why live with foot or ankle pain? If you have persistent pain, numbness, tingling, burning pain on the bottom of your foot, or swelling that doesn't improve with home treatment, it may be time to see Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our foot and ankle specialists have innovative new options to help you get back in the swing of things without persistent pain that slows you down. Call JOI 2000 or go to joionline.net for an appointment.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity. Hey Jags fans, did you know you can ride your bike to every Jaguars home game at TIAA Bank Field and valet park it for free? That's right. Stop by our bicycle check-in tent, sponsored by Alert Today Florida, near Gate 1 at TIAA Bank Field. An on-duty ZenCog bike professional will park your bike and ensure it's secured during the game. When the game's over, return your claim ticket and pick up your bike. For cycling safety tips, visit alerttodayflorida.com. Remember, Alert Today, alive tomorrow, because safety doesn't happen by accident.
At ViStar, we believe in better convenience, so members can bank any way they want, whether it's at a branch, on a mobile device, or at one of more than 20,000 fee-free ATMs across North America. We believe that people have better things to do with their time. If you believe that convenience is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
The wait for the holidays is over, America. It's time to make some joy. And we're here to help with the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event. We're offering the best deals of the season across the Ford lineup, so you can road trip with the whole family comfortably in a Ford Expedition. Bring home a tree that's bigger than you ever have with a built Ford Tough F-150. And find new ways to make the holidays bright this year when you visit your local Ford dealer. The joy is up to you, America, so let's get to it. Ford, Built for the Holidays.
Jaguars Happy Hour is presented in part by TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
I've gone through the rite of passage, okay, as a new owner coming into the league, the advisors, consultants, whatever. So, we did that. This time around, I think I have a much better sense myself. So, I'm the key decision maker, but we do have people at the team, at the Jaguars. Mark Lamping would be one who will be working with these people. So, they will be involved from that viewpoint. But, when it comes to who the key decision maker is going to be, you're looking at it.
Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour. That's Jaguars owner Shad Khan Monday morning when asked who is helping you with the search for GM and head coach, and JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We are not among those in that group. I'll say that, Jeff.
You're looking at it. I love that line. And it's the way it should be. Look, he's the owner of the football team, and that gives him the right to make the decisions. And I think that he has learned a lot, and I think he will make a better decision this time around. And obviously the decision was influenced from a lot of input that he got the first time around, and he's right. After a while of being an owner in the National Football League, you have an ability to learn, and he's a very smart man. Otherwise, he wouldn't be as successful as he has been, and I'm sure that he's going to apply some of the recipes that have gotten him where he is in the automotive parts business and apply that to what he knows now about football and work to make that a success. Because look, he wants to win. Make no mistake about it. When you commit, any resource that is necessary for the success of a football team, and trust me when I say this, there is nothing that has ever been asked for by coaches or staff that has ever been turned down by Shad Khan as it relates to the success of this team on the field. And that's pretty amazing, because that's not how it always is around the National Football League. Ask those that were in San Diego for many years.
Right.
Ask some of the folks that might be in Ohio.
Yep.
And Cincinnati, namely. And you will find out that There are other owners that aren't quite as willing to spend to be able to get results. But Shad Khan is not one of them in that category. He is very willing.
One of the things that Mr. Khan has learned, and we all have learned if we didn't know, and now we certainly do know, that you need a franchise quarterback on your roster. And a few times Mr. Khan discussed this on Monday, and if you're watching on Jaguars.com on the video portion of our broadcast today, you'll see them on your screen, a couple of the excerpts from that. They have the ability now to make a choice, and it's going to define the franchise moving forward. The last 8 years, we haven't had a franchise quarterback, so I think that's very important, said Mr. Khan. So he understands it. He gets it. Also, if there was any doubt at all what's going to happen at number 1 overall, that's all gone now.
Yeah, I think there's still, is there a level of intrigue that, could it not be Trevor Lawrence? Could it be somebody different? I think that possibility is there. Is it likely? Probably not, but the possibility still exists. So the intrigue, I think, will still carry on for a little bit. But I think, in my opinion, Trevor Lawrence is the guy, and I've just started to watch a little film on him this week, and
really?
Everything that I've seen so far has been fantastic. He's got the athleticism to move around the pocket. He has the athleticism to move out of the pocket. He has arm strength. He has accuracy. He has a coolness about him. There's very little that he doesn't do well. I haven't had the opportunity to watch some of the other quarterbacks. So I will make this kind of a weekly report based on some of the film that I watch as we head towards the month of April.
There's a reason why everybody's been talking about number 16 for Clemson since before he showed up in Clemson, South Carolina. He was the top high school player coming out and one of the top recruits, but he was going to Clemson the whole time. There was really not much of a debate. And then he gets to Clemson and performs in a big, big way. A national championship in his first season there in 2018. He was the offensive MVP of that national championship game. The Heisman Trophy runner-up this year. I don't know of many people that expected him to finish that high in the voting this year, but he did. And Clemson was in the playoff again this year. They lost, of course, to Ohio State last week, but he's lived up to expectations and beyond already throughout his career, and it feels like everybody in the NFL thinks that's going to continue.
Well, he's a winner. And that's the most important thing about playing the position of quarterback is winning. And so that's what he's done, and he's done it at all levels. I think the thing that also makes him intriguing from a coaching standpoint and so attractive from a coaching standpoint, coaches love to have young quarterbacks that have mobility.
Yeah.
And the reason they like that is that it allows them to do some things with a young quarterback to still have success, but without expecting a young quarterback that completely operate from within the pocket. So in other words, look, you got a young player, just like Kyler Murray is down in Arizona, and all of a sudden he can't get to the third progression just because he's not mature enough and he's not experienced enough to do so. Then his legs allows him to scramble, buy time to maybe get to that third option or his fourth option, or when it comes to scramble rules and off-schedule play. So coaches like that because it doesn't force somebody to sit in the pocket and to get hammered because they're not ready to get to that third progression yet. So coaches, I think, and if you were to ask any coach, look, and she said, hey, look, you can have your choice of any type of young quarterback. What do you want? The first words out of their mouth would be, I want a franchise quarterback.
Well,
and then they would start to talk about the traits. And the traits, I think, arm strength, accuracy, smart, intelligent. And then probably when you get down past some of the obvious things, I think a coach will tell you mobility and the ability to create with the legs to be able to allow this young quarterback to have success while he's learning on the job. And I think that's great. I think John Elway was a little bit that way in that he was mobile and could do things with his legs until he learned. Mark Brunell is another perfect example of a quarterback that is young and makes things happen with his legs. And then all of a sudden, over time, he becomes more of a pocket passer and then relies more on his arm. And with Trevor Lawrence, the ability to run a lot of the read option stuff right out of the gate, and which will get him on the field and playing, and will make the offense multiple threats against the defense, I think makes him very attractive. And are the other quarterbacks that are available to his level as far as having that type of ability? I think they're pretty good, but I don't think they're at that level.
Fields at Ohio State has that mobility as well. He's able to, doesn't use it as much as Trevor does. But, 2019, Lawrence ran for 563 yards that season. I mean, that's a pretty significant number for a quarterback.
Yeah, and you're not looking for a guy that can be Lamar Jackson. I mean, it just doesn't – I mean, those guys don't come along very often. And, and I think the expectation with Lamar Jackson right now is that now, oh my God, he's an absolute threat with his legs. But sooner or later, Lamar Jackson has to learn to be better from the pocket. And because right now he has the reputation is that if he does not have a lead, he is not a good quarterback. And it makes him do something that he doesn't want to do. And it makes the offensive coordinator do things that they don't want to do. And so in a perfect world, like a Lamar Jackson, okay, look, he's running with great success his first 2 years. The next progression for him is to be better in the pocket and less rushing yards and become twice as many passing yards as a quarterback. So, and I think that look at Trevor Lawrence is athletic but he's got a lot of other great skill sets that are going to be very beneficial for any team. And will he be a franchise guy? I hope so. I hope so because JP, unfortunately, we've seen first overall pick quarterbacks that have not worked out in NFL history. So I don't think there's anything that you would call a sure thing, but you would certainly say that maybe he's as close to a sure thing as possible. But again, there are no sure things.
Well, I'll say this. Justin Fields put on a fantastic performance in the Sugar Bowl the other night, and Alabama will have their hands full. If he's ready to go Monday with those ribs, they'll have their hands full against Justin Fields in the national championship game, too. 6 touchdowns, fighting through the rib injury, and really showed a gutsy effort in that game. And he's flashed, obviously, all year. The 22 of 28 in that game last Friday, that seems to be because he's throwing downfield so much and hitting all these deep plays. That's kind of where he's been a lot of the year. It's not like he's having to throw 50 times a game because they're blowing people out a lot of times when they play.
Well, first off, give him credit because the year before they got hammered, right, by Clemson.
That's right.
And so, okay, you motivate a football team, you motivate an individual, and an individual that the week before didn't play very well and was widely criticized for his level of play the week before. And they come into this game against Clemson, and he only has 6 games under his belt. And them as a team, they only have 6 games under their belt. So for them to play how they did, and I mean, as dominant as they were, for me, the way that Ohio State's defense played against Clemson, and then the way, which was fantastic, but most importantly, the way that Ohio State's offense kept Clemson's defense off balance with manipulating tempo and changing tempo, that was impressive to me. I thought that the Clemson Tigers defensively, they got outcoached. The Ohio State's offense, they absolutely put their foot on Clemson's neck and held it there the entire game. And so credit the Ohio State offensive coaches for dictating tempo and catching the Clemson defense off guard on multiple occasions to where Clemson wasn't even getting lined up. And even when they had their starting linebacker who eventually got tossed for targeting, which I thought was the proper call according to the collegiate rules, even though they lost him, even when they had him, they were having a hard time with the tempo of Ohio State.
That's right. And it helps when you have a run game. Trey Sermon can bring it on the ground for them to balance it out, and then Fields throws it up.
Clemson had it. Clemson has great ground game, right? I mean, but where'd that go? I mean, Ohio State, I mean, they put a check on that, and that was it, man. That was done. So good entertaining game, and congratulations to Ohio State. And Clemson will have to reload, and it's going to be difficult to reload without a quarterback that is of the stature of Trevor Lawrence.
They like the guy they have that's coming on deck, but we'll see what happens down the line for Clemson. Let's come back, and Tony Boselli will join us, fresh off a visit with Snoop Dogg. Yes, that's right. I said it. We will get his thoughts on that and the coaching and GM searches as well. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network. Jaguars fans, did you know that with Drizzly, you can get Tito's handmade vodka delivered to your door in under 60 minutes? Well, you can. And now they're giving all fans $10 off their first order. Use the code JAGS10 at checkout. Just download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com and make sure you're all set to mix it up with Tito's handmade vodka for the perfect game day. That's DRIZLY.com. And remember to use the special code JAGS10 to save $10 on your first order. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly. Headquartered right here in Jacksonville, the CSI Companies is one of the fastest growing staffing firms in the nation. As a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI knows how important it is to find the right people for your team. See why some of Jacksonville's top companies choose CSI for their staffing needs. Visit thecsicompanies.com or call 800-582-0828 today. That's 800-582-0828 for the CSI Companies.
Jaguars fans, whether it's on the field or in your finances, the key to success is a solid plan. From high-yield banking to home lending, into retirement and beyond, TIAA Bank offers solutions that can help you achieve your goals and make the most of your money. It's time for a plan. Start building your legacy today at TIAABank.com/Jaguars. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, equal housing lender, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Committed to the team, committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
The wait for the holidays is over, America. It's time to make some joy. And we're here to help with the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event. We're offering the best deals of the season across the Ford lineup, so you can road trip with the whole family comfortably in a Ford Expedition. Bring home a tree that's bigger than you ever have with a built Ford Tough F-150. And find new ways to make the holidays bright this year when you visit your local Ford dealer. The joy is up to you, America, so let's get to it. Ford, built for the holidays.
Like working outdoors and want better pay and benefits? Superior Fence and Rail is seeking full-time fence installers with pay ranging from $16 to $25 an hour and more with commercial experience. Superior Fence and Rail will train you to work with their professional team and provide you with all the tools you need to be a top-notch installer. Get off the fence. Call Superior Fence and Rail today and start your career.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Jaguars Happy Hour is presented in part by Dreamfinders Homes, homes that fit your lifestyle. Next Grill, everyone's invited. And Adecco. Visit AdeccoUSA.com.
Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour on a Thursday. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and now joining us, it's pride of the Jaguars, left tackle and Hall of Fame finalist Tony Boselli. Congratulations. I think it's the first time we've spoken to you on the air since the announcement of the finalist again. So congrats, Tony. What's up?
Thank you, JP. All good here in Ponte Vedra. You know, just same old, same old. It's a little starting to get a little chilly here in Florida for me, but outside of that, all's good.
All right, I've got to.
Wait a minute, same old, same old. Man, you're hanging out with Snoop Dogg.
What in the world?
Come on, man.
Let's take a look on Jaguars.com. This is from Mega Parekh, the chief legal officer's Instagram. Last night, AEW Dynamite at Daly's Place, All Elite Wrestling. Snoop Dogg in attendance and Tony Boselli in attendance as well. I'm sure you guys go all the way back to like 93 in L.A., right?
Well, you know, he is from Long Beach Poly, and his one of his buddies from Long Beach Poly was William McGinnis, who's we were in the same recruiting class and played at SC together. So we go back. It's not like I know Snoop well or anything like that, And so, but he found out I was there, and he said he grabbed Megan and said, "Hey, tell Tony to come back to the my trailer." So I went back and took my daughter and Mike Perkins' kids and got some pictures. And he's a funny dude now, but he's a good dude. He was great. You know what I appreciate? He's a big star. Everyone knows that.
Right.
But he was great with the kids, taking pictures. Really engaging, and it was great. It was fun.
He's tall. We're looking at the photo. I mean, you're what, 6'8", 6'9", and he's right there with you.
Yeah, I'm 6'7", 6'7.5". I mean, he's a good 6'4". I mean, but he might not weigh more than $165. You talk about about skinny.
He's pretty wiry. Yeah, he's pretty wiry. So, Tony, I remember years ago, and when I was playing with the Jets, and we were on our way for a West Coast trip, and so we flew out there on a Friday, and so on Saturday we were on our way to USC's campus, and I don't remember the year, but we were on, and you were probably there on campus at the time, but we were on our way to USC campus to have a practice, and all of a sudden we turn on Compton, I guess is the name of the road. And all of a sudden, a bunch of guys on our team started freaking out, going, "Snoop, Snoop, look at Snoop." And I'm going, what in the world's going on? And I didn't even know who Snoop was at the time. And a couple guys, and I looked, and all I see is a Bentley. And I mean, it's a nice Bentley. I mean, it's got the shine to it, and the windows rolled down, and the music's playing, and I see a guy that everybody's telling me, all my teammates are telling me that's Snoop Dogg. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I guess I don't know who Snoop Dogg is, but I think it's cool.
Yeah, that was probably early 90s, Jeff. I actually think I remember, when you guys came out, because it was a big deal. You're a college kid playing football, and the Jets are coming out to practice your field. And you probably turned down Figueroa if you were getting off the highway and heading to campus there. So, it was fun. It was my first time going to AEW live. I've seen it on TV, obviously. And what a great, I'll tell you what, Tony Khan has done an amazing job. It is a show. I was a huge wrestling fan as a kid, but I haven't watched it, in years outside of, until Tony started AEW. So, obviously as an owner of the Jaguars, you pay attention and you watch here and there. And what the funny thing is, I was watching it one night a while ago, and my 11-year-old daughter comes in, and she sat there for an hour with me and was just mesmerized. And she was like, "Dad, this is awesome." And she's like, I'm like, "Would you like to go to one of these sometime?" She goes, "I would love to go to one." So the surprise was I took her. My other kids were so mad, not because they wanted to go to wrestling. They were so mad because they're older in college and everything. Like, she got to meet Snoop Dogg. Yeah. But it was great. The production, I mean, it is entertainment, and it was fun. It was a fun night. It's always good to do stuff with your kids. And JP, I know you don't have kids, but Jeff, you know that. Just doing those special moments with your kids, that was my favorite part, just seeing her smile. And she thought it was so cool that she got to meet Snoop Dogg. All right, so I got fun. A question, because I'll just real quick. What was Snoop Dogg doing with AEW? I know that Snoop Dogg is on a TV show with the head wrestling guy,
Cody Rhodes.
Cody
Rhodes. And so is that part of what was going on, why he's in town?
Yeah, I think so. That and just probably a promotion of both AEW and Snoop's own show more than anything. He came out and did a little wrestling bit with Cody Rhodes and jumped off the top. I'll tell you what, I was impressed. He got to the top of the rope and jumped off and did one of his things. Body slammed or whatever it was called, and I was afterwards. I was giving him a hard time. I said, "Snoop, you looked a little shaky there on the top of the ropes," and he said, "Man, that was fine." And he went on to share that he wanted to do that because his favorite wrestler growing up was Jimmy Fly
Snuka.
Yep, and and so he went out and did it. It was great. It was fun. It was a fun night. It got a little chilly out there. That's why I had my coat on, but it was fun.
That's pretty awesome. That's a heck of a photograph. I'll say that for sure. And I hope you don't mind us sharing that on the program.
No,
because it's out there publicly anyway.
It's on Instagram.
It's out there.
Yeah. Everyone has it. It doesn't bother me.
All right, so wait a minute. Before we go on here, I mean, we got to have some fun here because the show that wrapped up the season here. I grew up a big wrestling fan. And, back in the day we had, in Washington, D.C., we had DC 20, which used to show some of the old school wrestlers and Bob Backlund and obviously Andre the Giant and guys like that. Growing up as a kid, who was your favorite wrestler?
It was probably Hulk Hogan. Because I remember going to McNichols Arena, the old arena in Denver, and they had a big event. And I'll never forget, he was fighting, I think, the Junkyard Dog. And, it's so beautifully done. And he did the thing where he looks like he's almost beaten, and they'd raise his hand. And the first 2 times he would drop, and then the third time he'd hold it up and start shaking. Yeah. That memory is just in my mind. It's just like written in my brain that I'll never that image. And so I loved him. I also loved Macho Man Randy Savage. I thought was great.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I remember the one I disliked the most was what was it, Roddy Piper or Rodney Piper, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, he was great.
Yeah, and so I don't know. It was
Roddy Piper, man, with the kilt.
Yeah, Roddy
fantastic.
The best,
but it was a fun night, and I give them credit. They're competing with an entity in WWE's been around forever, and they're doing great. Tony Khan has done a good job with that thing. So if you ever get a chance to go to Daly's place when they're here, I don't know how much longer they're here or what the schedule is or anything like that, but it's a fun, entertaining night.
All right, JP, who's yours?
It's got to be right in that same ballpark, Hulk Hogan. But I always enjoyed the interviews. Mean Gene Okerlund and the interviews. Those are fantastic. Come on now.
The facial expressions he had with some of the comments the wrestlers would make.
And I will say,
priceless.
Jim Ross, who does the commentary now, is a longtime WWE, WWF announcer. He does AEW now, does a great job. And how about this summer, Doug Marrone and I went out to see Jim Ross at his apartment at Jack's Beach and grill out steak for 2 hours. I didn't get a word in edgewise with those two. That was an afternoon to remember, I'll say. Doug Marrone, Jim Ross. Let's come back in a moment. We'll get into the GM head coaching search. Our wrestling discussion is done for the day. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Why do you choose Farah and Farah? First, we have the financial resources to take on any insurance company. And our track record proves that we know how to win. Our attorneys and staff are a team, and we've worked together for decades. To us, our job is much more than just a paycheck. We love to help. And this is important. We never forget. It's not about us. It's all about you. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
Superior Fence and Rail knows about commercial fence services, from automatic gates to security fence and railing. Superior Fence and Rail's professional team delivers with great communication, trained installers, and quality products. Trust your next commercial project with a top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. Get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your commercial project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
You don't want players going in and out or contracts given till you're aware of that. So, striking the balance between, delegation and abdication, I think is an important point. And certainly I found that in the last, 15 months, having that, necessitates the conversation. You're part of the conversation with the GM and the head coach. So being part of that here, for the immediate future, I think is important to me.
Jaguars owner Shad Khan speaking Monday about the process and the hiring process. GM and head coach openings still for the Jacksonville Jaguars. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Tony Boselli. Jaguars Happy Hour continues. Tony, what's your gut saying? Is it going to be a bit? Are they coming in hot? Are they just obviously interviewing? We've seen the list of candidates on the GM and the head coaching side, at least, that are getting interviews or have been interviewed. What's your gut saying about maybe a timetable?
Oh, I would think in the next couple of weeks, at the soonest would be next week. But I think they're going to go through the process. I mean, they're interviewing people right now. Obviously you have the urban news out there that I think is real. I don't think it's his job or anything like that, but I think it's real, and they're going to go through that process. And then they're also interviewing GM. So, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks max, because I think once the first team hires a coach, the dominoes start falling. Because if you have multiple teams wanting the same guy or they've stack ranked them the same, that's where you start seeing a little bit of a competitive nature come out. So that's just a guess. I think Shad was clear that he would like to, in a perfect world, do these both at the same time. They're both going to report to him. They're going to be on equal footing with him being a part of the decision-making process, especially on the big deals around player acquisition and contracting, and if they ask, if they end up cutting a player or something. My guess is that doesn't mean if these, they're cutting the 53rd guy on the roster, that Shad needs to know every single little bit about that. Maybe he does. I don't know. But, the big decisions, I think he's saying, listen, I'm writing the checks, and this is my team, and I want to understand what we're doing. And I'm going to trust the GM and the head coach to make the decisions, but I'd like to be looped in when those big decisions are being made.
Right. So we'll see what happens in the next days, weeks ahead on both fronts. And, we touched earlier, Tony, on the quarterback position, what Mr. Khan said about that spot, guys. And is that you, Tony? Are you ringing? Is that Jeff? Who is
Who
that?
else would it be, JP?
That was mine. I turned it off. Sorry.
What in the world is going on over there in Ponte Vedra today?
My fault. My fault.
Wow.
I didn't silence my phone.
So,
That's like an old school ring right there.
Yeah,
too.
do you have a flip phone?
That's pretty cool.
What is that?
No, it's an iPhone.
Okay, it's not a flip phone. All right, that's good. So, quarterback position, obviously priority number one for whoever is hired. Logs, we've touched on that earlier. I mean, you got to start there because you don't have this opportunity to have a blank slate like this as an organization for owner Shad Khan. I mean, this is probably the only time hopefully the only time this will ever happen, where you have the number one pick and a new head coach and GM all at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, you hope. I mean, it means you're not doing very well when you have all those three things kind of coincide. But I think it's pretty important too that the Jaguars find, in my opinion, an offensive coach. And the reason I say that is if you hire a defensive coach, and look, trust me, I'm a defensive guy, and I think there's some really, really good defensive guys out there. But if you end up hiring a defensive guy and then you hire an offensive coordinator and all of a sudden you start having great success, your likelihood of losing that offensive coordinator to a head coaching job is pretty high. I mean, look at all the hires that have happened recently, and that it's a lot of offensive guys, to where if you can find a way to get a great leader as a head coach, which is the most important thing, but also that his side of expertise in football is on the offensive side of the ball, it's better. I'm not saying it's the only way, but I think it's better. Then that way that you can have continuity with a young quarterback throughout his growth cycle. Because if all of a sudden you have a defensive coach and you have a coordinator and then you start getting hot and Trevor Lawrence is playing well, then you know what? Unfortunately, the hottest candidate in the league would be the guy that's tutoring Trevor Lawrence, because everybody's going to want that person to be tutoring their first round or first overall pick quarterback. And so the team that's going to have an opening that's going to be drafting a quarterback very high in the top of the first round is going to look for their next great head coach that's got an offensive mind. So I think it's just something to consider. And I don't think, like I said, I want to repeat this, it's not the only way to go about it, but I think it's certainly something that I would lean toward.
Yeah, I think, Jeff, what you said, the most important part, of what you just said is leadership. And I would agree. Like if you want to lean towards the offensive mindset of the guy who's the head coach, I'm fine with that as well. To me, it's about leadership. Get the right leader, and it's not, you got to have the right leader at the head coach. It's such a critical position. They set the tone for the organization. They set the culture. You need the right leader at the GM as well, because those two have to be lockstep. They have to be in it together. They have to have a similar philosophy, beliefs, convictions, and everything else. So to me, the number of people have asked me, like, what do you want out of the head coach? One thing, I want a leader. I want a guy who can lead the organization, who can, because at the end of the day, that guy's job, he has to lead 53 guys on the roster, active roster, and he has to lead the coaching staff. And he has to be consistent and forward thinking and dynamic and all those different things. But it's all about leadership. And to Jeff's point, if you get a guy who's a great leader and leans toward the offensive side of the ball, that's a plus.
All right, guys, so it is that'll do it for our Jaguars discussion today, because it is Super Wild Card Weekend in the National Football League, and our last chance, Tony, to catch up with you before you're headed to Pittsburgh, right, to do the Browns-Steelers game on Sunday night, the nightcap on the second day of Wild Card Weekend. That should be a fun game. We'll get to that one coming up, but we've got some division rivals involved this weekend. The Colts are at the Bills on Saturday, 1 o'clock. What's your gut on this one, Tony?
Well, the Bills are the hottest team in football, in my opinion. I guess you could argue Green Bay, but Josh Allen's playing at such a high level. They got a dynamic passing game. They got a good offensive line. Defensively, their one weakness, if you look at just statistically and kind of games, is that run defense. So that'll be interesting. I think it's a matchup where for the Colts to win, they got to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor, control the line of scrimmage, and then they have to win with their front four of getting after Josh Allen, with DeForest Buckner and Justin Houston leading the way. So the Colts, listen, they have a great chance. I'm not counting them out, but it's going to have to be the front four taking over that game, because if Josh Allen has time back there, and he can operate at the level he's operating right now, that he will skewer the Colts secondary.
I'll put it this way, JP.
Yes.
There's no chance that the Colts beat the Buffalo Bills.
Whoa.
The Colts were fortunate to beat the Jaguars in the last week of the season. Phillip Rivers does not look great, and he has to have an incredible running game to support him. And that's a fact. And the Buffalo Bills are going to run all over him. Going to wear them out.
Wow. Okay. I like that. There's really you didn't stutter at all in that
Nope.
prediction. The Rams at the Seahawks, and we need the Seahawks to win And we also need, by the way, the Bears and Washington to win. That would give the Jaguars the best possible draft pick with the Rams pick. If the Rams lose and Washington and Chicago wins, then they'd have the worst record of the teams that have lost.
Well, and explain to people why. I mean, that's the Jalen Ramsey trade. You still have a first-round pick this spring and a fourth-round pick this spring that is due to be paid to the Jaguars. So the more that the Seahawks lose, the better the draft position for the Jaguars.
Rams lose, yes.
The Rams lose.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, Jeff's exactly right. I think this is an interesting game. I think, it's in Seattle, but there's no crowd. So it's not like you have the loud 12th man there.
Yeah.
These two teams have played 2 games. They've been both very close. I can't imagine Jared Goff being ready after thumb surgery. So you're probably going to get John Warford, the Jacksonville kid from Bishop Kennedy. He actually played pretty well in that Week 17 matchup that they had against Arizona. So I think it's Seattle. I mean, their defense is playing at a really high level as of late, second half of the year. So Russell Wilson, 2 close teams, both good teams, go with the better quarterback. And Russell Wilson's, as much as we'll be rooting for John Warford as a Jacksonville guy, but I think Russell Wilson's a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely rooting for him. But Seattle's defense has made vast improvement since the beginning of the year. And I think it's going to be tough, even though it is a no-crowd game. I think it's going to be tough for the Rams.
Let's get through the rest of these pretty quickly here. Tampa Bay in Washington, the NFC East champs.
I think this is closer than anyone thinks because, what's the one thing Tom Brady hates? That's pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And the football team can rush the passer. They got a defensive front that can get after you. The problem is I don't think they can score points because that Tampa defense is pretty good too. So I think it's a close game, but I think Tampa wins.
Yeah, I'm with Tony right there. I thought that was perfectly described.
A 6-3 final, maybe in that game. No, not quite that conservative.
No.
Okay. On Sunday, 3 good football games here. The Ravens and the Titans get us started at 1:00 in Nashville. Tony.
I think that's a good one, Tony.
Yeah.
That's a good
game.
Jeff. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think the Ravens win because I don't think the Titans can stop anybody. That defense is so bad. I mean, they are so bad, and the Ravens are playing at a high level right now. And I think they have a chip on their shoulder. I think they're going in better than they were last year, even though they were, had the best record in the NFL. They went through adversity. They've overcome it. Lamar Jackson's playing really well. Their defense is good. I mean, Tennessee can score points, obviously, every game. But if you can't get people off the field, how do you win? And the Titans are just atrocious.
I'm what I'm searching right now on my phone.
Oh boy,
is what's the playoff record for combined yards rushing?
Oh,
okay, because I think that this game is going to break it.
It's going to be. It might be broken.
Let's see what it says. They put individuals. They don't put a single game.
Right.
Wait, yeah, they put single individuals. But I think this, whatever the record is, man, look out, it might be broken.
Good game. Bears Saints coming up at 4:40, and then the Browns Steelers the nightcap. Tony, what do you think about those 2 games?
I can't imagine the Saints losing that game. I mean, Chicago's not a very good football team.
Never know.
And so I think it's Saints. No, you never know. I mean,
JP, Trubisky. One word.
I know.
Trubisky.
You never know. That's why they play the games, Logs.
Kirk Cousins went in and won last year,
Exactly.
so who knows? I think, listen, I'm disappointed about the Cleveland-Pittsburgh game from this standpoint. I mean, Cleveland's just not getting a fair shake here. No practices all week. They haven't thrown a pass. They haven't done anything on the field. Their head coach is going to be out because of COVID. Their offensive line coach, Bill Callahan, probably out because of COVID. They're going to be out with their Pro Bowl left guard, Bitonio. I mean, it's such a tough thing. I mean, you hate it. You don't want to see this in the playoffs. This is the COVID world we live in. I think the Steelers win this game pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm with Tony on both of them. And all right, JP, Monday night football is the college national championship game, and there's a team that's playing that you got a little bit of a maybe a little bit of a affinity for.
Well, I have a degree from there, but yes. And
who's going to win, JP?
I think Alabama will win, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Ohio State can score with them if Fields is healthy.
Alabama's going to boat race them. Alabama's going to boat race them.
We'll see.
But Alabama wins by at least 14.
2 touchdowns. I think it's closer than the experts think on Monday night in Miami. Tony, have a great weekend. Enjoy the game in Pittsburgh, and we'll talk to you.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
Tony Boselli out of here. We're back in a moment on the network with another hour of Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Former Jaguar Jeff Lageman and JP Shadrick provide the latest Jaguars news and what's happening around the NFL. Jaguars Happy Hour begins right now.
Welcome in, Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Glad you're along with us. We are a week after the season, and the Jags are number 1 in the draft order. That's the biggest story. Of course, head coach Doug Marrone is out as the head coach, so a GM and a head coach opening now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we must say at the start of this program, let's just throw it out there, this was the Doug Marrone show for the last 3 years plus, 4 years really, and it's no longer the Doug Marrone show. It is now Jaguars Happy Hour, but our best to Doug Marrone and Helen and the kids and the family. And Logs, I know we touched on it on an earlier show here in Jacksonville, but he's going to end up okay in the NFL. I mean, he's pretty well respected, certainly as a position coach. If anything, he's going to get a gig.
Yeah, and look, coaches when they enter the league and then they sign up to be assistant coaches and then coordinators and then certainly head coaches, they understand that NFL sometimes can stand not for long, and that the jobs don't last and job security is not exactly at the top of the list. And they get it, but it can be very difficult for families to accept that. And so I got to say this: Doug is a top-notch, first-class guy. Loved working with him. He has been extremely gracious with us through the years, and has been very forthright and given us great information, which in turn has allowed the listeners to be able to enjoy a lot of information and also to learn a lot. And I appreciate Doug for that. And Doug's been good to me. And I know, JP, he's been good to you.
No doubt.
And we're going to miss him. And without a doubt, good dude.
Now, no matter if he gets a gig, takes a year, whatever he wants to do, you will see them around town. So if you do, shake his hand. He's approachable and a good guy, and he will be in Jacksonville.
He's not very social, though. He'll be the first one to admit that. He said, look, I'm not a social guy. But he's not. He won't punch you in the face if you come up to him to shake his hand. I mean, he's a good guy, and look, nobody wanted to win more than Doug Marrone and sacrificed more to get wins for this football team than Doug Marrone. It just didn't work, and just like past head coaches, we have a lot of them that love Jacksonville and then are going to be a part of the fabric of our community. Tom Coughlin, Mike Mularkey. Even Gus Bradley, I think, is going to be able to come back at some point. Mike Smith is not far down the road. And I'm sure that Doug would like to be able to stay a part of this fabric as well. Look, we got a beautiful city and a lot to love about Jacksonville. And some of these ex-head coaches are going to be in our community. And it's awesome that they stay a part of our community. I think it speaks volumes for how wonderful of a city that we have.
Great place to be, and once folks come here and realize it, maybe they don't realize it if they've never been here or haven't been here a lot or in and out, but once you're here and live here for a while, you know the secret that is Jacksonville, and it's a great place to be for sure. Now, to the football side, and the GM gig has been open for some time now. The interview process is on down the road a little bit, it feels like there. The head coach names have popped up this week, though, Jeff, and there are some interesting names that are associated with the Jaguars opening. I think the most interesting is that of Urban Meyer, the former Ohio State, Florida head coach. That's where he won 3 national titles combined between those two schools. And if you're watching on Jaguars.com, you see the other names that have been listed: Bieniemy, Garrett, Raheem Morris, Robert Saleh, Arthur Smith, all tied at least in some way to the Jaguars head coach opening. But the one that pops off the page there that everybody's talking about is Urban Meyer, Logs.
Sure. I mean, and understandably so, because he's a big name. He everywhere he's been, Utah, Florida, Ohio State, he's flat out won. And that's what this team wants, and that's what the fans want, is winning. And there's also a little flip side of that, and that when he left those programs, it wasn't exactly on good terms. So a lot of fans of the Florida Gators aren't big fans of Urban Meyer, and I think a lot of Ohio State fans, if there are any in this area, I'm sure there's a few because they have a pretty broad reach,
Yeah, there
may
are.
not like or be big fans of Urban Meyer. But, you know, look, he wins. And it doesn't mean that he's going to win at the pro level, because at the college level, you're allowed to have better talent than anybody else. And it can be a little bit unfair because you can out-recruit people. Well, in the National Football League, you have a salary cap that essentially governs your talent to where you can only get so much as far as paying them. But there is no cap as far as acquiring talent through the draft, which makes the general manager so very important. Now, the other name on that list that's pretty interesting to me is Arthur Smith.
Yeah,
he's a hot,
he's
up-and-coming candidate, offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, JP, and you know, with a young quarterback coming in, you know, a bright offensive mind, many people are going to look at as a favorable situation to get for a young quarterback.
Yeah, and not to interrupt you there, sorry about that, but Arthur Smith is, I think, the only one of head coaching candidates that is interviewing with every job opening in the NFL this year. I mean, he's making the rounds on the circuit.
Well, it's because he's an offensive guy. I mean, look, anybody that has an opportunity to take an offensive coordinator position for a football team that's going to have a running back that's going to rush for back-to-back 2,000-plus yard seasons, take the job, because it's going to make you a hot candidate if you can run the football. Obviously, he's had Derrick Henry there in Tennessee, and he's done a good job, though. And the Chargers have a great situation with their young quarterback, and I'm sure that he's going to be high on their list. He's probably going to be high on the Jaguars list because they're expected to draft a quarterback in the draft. And so you want to, you know, I said a little bit ago, we were talking to Tony Boselli, and our conversation was about, look, first and foremost, for the head coaching position, you want to have somebody that's a leader. But if you had a choice as far as what side of the ball that he's cut his teeth on or is considered his area of expertise, you would take the offensive side of the ball just so you can continue to have continuity. But it's not the most important thing, and I would probably use John Harbaugh as an example of that, because John Harbaugh essentially was a special teams coordinator, which I think special teams coordinators should get more consideration for head coaching positions because they manage a wide range of people, all from offensive and defensive sides of the ball, and coaches, that they would make great candidates. But John Harbaugh has done a great job, whether he's had a mobile quarterback in Lamar Jackson or if he's had the statue in the pocket with Joe, what's his name? Help me out, JP. Joe.
Where?
His quarterback in Baltimore.
Oh, Joe Flacco.
When he won the Super
Joe
Bowl.
Flacco.
Thank you, Flacco. I had a brain fart there. But, I mean, he's been able to win with different styles of offense, and he's had different offensive coordinators to do that. And so I think that goes to show you that it's not the most important or the only thing that's important when hiring a head coach is that he is from the offensive side of the ball, but it certainly wouldn't hurt.
Joe Judge is another one with the Giants now, who was a special teams coordinator.
JP, I got to say this about Joe Judge. I remember we had the opportunity a couple years ago to go up to Foxborough, and the Jaguars were practicing against the Patriots, and so we got to spend a couple days up there and to watch and to also experience the preseason game that was played up there. So we got to see firsthand how Bill Belichick runs things with his practice, which was impressive.
Yes.
The most impressive thing to me, and I said it last year when he was hired with the New York Giants, the most impressive thing for me watching the Patriots practice was how they ran their special team. Not one time did they have to call for somebody that wasn't on the field when they were supposed to, because when you're a special teams coordinator, you're managing all 80 guys or more if they have the expanded rosters, and to be able to get them on and off the field without guys missing or without guys not knowing what they're, missing assignments or whatever. And that was all because of Joe Judge. That's not Bill Belichick. So when Joe got the job with the Giants, I became a fan of his when we were there for the practices. And I think he did a very good job this year. And then when he came out to make the strong statement that he did about what the Philadelphia Eagles did and about how that he could never do that with the New York Giants, JP, I became an even bigger fan of his. And if you can find a guy like that that's a strong leader, or a John Harbaugh that's a strong leader, by all means, get him.
Plenty ahead on Jaguars Happy Hour. We'll return with quarterback talk, and most namely a quarterback from Clemson who is declared for the NFL draft. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Whether you're driving to a Jaguars game or on the way to work, when you see flashing lights, please move over. If you can't move over a lane, slow down 20 miles per hour below the speed limit. You can protect those who help you on the road, from law enforcement and other first responders to utility and tow truck drivers. They all need you to be at the top of your game while you're driving. See lights? Please move over. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Any repeated physical activity puts stress on the body. Checking your phone, getting in the car, sitting at your desk, checking the phone, getting in your car, sitting at your desk, checking your phone for the 50th time today. If you do anything with regularity, you should get massaged with regularity. Massage Envy. Keep your body working.
Regular body work makes the body work with massage, skincare, and stretch. Come in today for more information or visit massageenvy.com for more details.
The wait for the holidays is over, America. It's time to make some joy. And we're here to help with the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event. We're offering the best deals of the season across the Ford lineup, so you can road trip with the whole family comfortably in a Ford Expedition. Bring home a tree that's bigger than you ever have with a built Ford Tough F-150. And find new ways to make the holidays bright this year when you visit your local Ford dealer. The joy is up to you, America, so let's get to it. Ford, built for the holidays.
Superior Fence and Rail knows about commercial fence services, from automatic gates to security fence and railing. Superior Fence and Rail's professional team delivers with great communication, trained installers, and quality products. Trust your next commercial project with the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. Get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your commercial project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. Welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour. Here's your host, JP Shadrick.
Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, glad you're along with us. We're done with the 2020 regular season. The Jaguars did not qualify for the playoffs this year. At 1-15, they lost 15 straight games, so that means, Logs, that they have the number one overall pick. We've just discussed the GM and head coaching change and all those interviews coming, but with number one overall, this is as you'll see on Jaguars.com, a full reboot of the organization, and it gets no bigger with the number one pick than the quarterback position. We even heard Shad Khan on Monday discuss that a handful of times during his comments, the lack of a franchise quarterback over the last 8 years, especially during his term as owner here. And you can even go well past that, obviously. So this is the year. You have the pick. There are a couple big names that are out there, and the stars are lining up, Logs. Let's say that.
Well, I mean, many people view Trevor Lawrence as a generational talent, and he may be, and I hope he is. I think it would be awesome for the fan base to have a franchise quarterback to where they can root for and watch grow through the next decade and a half. I mean, as we're seeing quarterbacks now play into their 40s. So, I mean, could it be, in fact, 2 decades? I don't know, but it would be awesome to see. And Trevor Lawrence has an incredible skill set, and got to say that I've had the opportunity to watch him a little bit this week and watch some film, and I'm going to watch all of the snaps in which he has either run or thrown a pass this year for the Clemson Tigers, and started watching a little bit of it this week, and love a lot of things that I see. I mean, he's got great athleticism. His decision-making is very good. He has accuracy, arm strength, can throw the deep out, 15 yards out, and it's on the money, and it's on a rope. And those are the things that you like to have. And I think also what I think is going to help a coach, especially in the developmental phase, is that his mobility will help him, I think, be successful because look, when a quarterback hits the ground running when he's a rookie, it's hard to be successful if you're just going to try to stay in the pocket. but young quarterbacks that have mobility can get out of the pocket and kind of manufacture success out of the pocket until they learn to have success from in the pocket. And I think Trevor Lawrence gives that ability, and coaches, I think anybody that wants to take a job with a young quarterback would like to have that scenario of a young quarterback that has mobility, that can do things out of the pocket so that they can learn on the run, so to speak, until they can learn to function like a Peyton Manning in the pocket and be completely in the pocket and be just a great passer. But he's been fun to watch. He's been a joy. And I look forward to watching more of him and kind of give you a little update each and every week. But so far, what I've seen of him has been really good. And it's been fun to watch now. It's been fun to watch. And I think the whole read option stuff, you're going to see a lot of that with him when he comes to the Jaguars, if he comes to the Jaguars.
You know, all these videos on Twitter and online and on YouTube and all this of his highlights and big-time throws and deep balls at Clemson. There was one I watched, I must admit, a few weeks ago, and he's rolling left. He's right-handed, obviously. He's rolling left out of the pocket, nearing the sideline, and then just unleashes one on the run 30-40 yards down the field on a dime into the end zone touchdown. I mean, it's like that's stuff that you just really can't teach. The way that ball came out of his hands, it's just one example, but he does things with the ball that a lot of guys just can't do. Yeah,
I don't know if can you see that, JP? I got that up right there.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
That's Trevor Lawrence. Okay, got a little film up of him right there and going against Vanderbilt.
Oh, that's probably a good game for him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, let's see about this play. Okay, a little fake, little read option handoff, and he carries out the fake. I mean, he's a talented quarterback, and I think it's pretty clear cut. I mean, any quarterback that has been as good as he has been, and consistent as he has been, and available as he has been, there is absolutely nothing not to like about him. You know, but I want to say this, JP. A lot of people, I think, in the fan base and I think it's a little much. They think he's going to be a savior. And last time I checked, the quarterback can't be. It's very difficult to have one guy be the savior. Look at Joe Burrow. You know, Joe Burrow had a very good year, but it was a tough year, and he took his lumps and unfortunately got injured. And then for the Chargers, Justin Herbert had what was a really good season, led them really good for a rookie.
Yeah.
7-9, was able to put together some wins down the stretch and was a really good player, broke a lot of rookie records, passing and such. I mean, those are Kyler Murray, another one that had success out of the gate as a rookie. I mean, these are exciting young quarterbacks, but they didn't completely change the franchise's direction in 1 year. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made around picking a franchise quarterback that have to be done well to allow the quarterback to have success and to allow the team to have success. And hopefully the Jaguars will make some great decisions, make some really good hires, and get a lot of good people that can help build this organization to where it needs to be.
Some of those decisions will include pending free agents, and we'll get to the list of those for the Jaguars when we return. We're off and running. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on Jaguars Radio.
Coach Doug Marrone here, reminding all our Jaguar fans, don't fumble when it comes to driving. One text takes your eyes off the road for 5 seconds. And at 55 miles per hour, that's like driving the entire length of a football field with your eyes closed. To win while driving, you must focus. Keep your hands on the wheel, eyes on the road, and mind on driving. Put it down. Focus on driving. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Looking to be your own boss in a proven business model? Do you like construction and working outdoors? Superior Fence and Rail is franchising in new markets all over the Southeast, from Birmingham to Savannah and even a few more markets in Florida. Come win with Superior Fence and Rail and redefine the fence industry. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail to learn more about starting a fence franchise today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports-watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour. Here's your host, JP Shadrick.
Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour. On this Thursday evening, JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. I guess it's not even evening yet. What is the borderline for evenings? 6:30, 7 Logs? What do you think? Afternoon to evening?
The evening typically starts at 5 o'clock.
Okay, so I was right.
Okay. Yeah, you're good. I mean, we're 5:20. We're 20 minutes past it. Yeah, you're correct. You're
Good.
politically correct.
Okay, good. Just making sure. I don't want any, bad emails or tweets coming my way about I got that wrong. So we were discussing building this organization. Obviously the quarterback is one thing, but there are some other things you have to do to get things right around the quarterback. And you brought it up earlier today when we were getting ready for the show about pending free agents for the Jaguars that are currently on the roster. And Logs, there are 27 pending free agents on this team, according to Spot Track. So let's go through them. Where do you want to start here?
Well, I think the 27 is a big number, and 27, I think when you look at that as a whole, people would kind of panic a little bit and say, oh my God, I mean, how are they going to even build a team next year? So remember, though, that a lot of these 27 are guys that were signed for essentially roster-filling spots. We call them borderline players or bubble-type players. But out of those 27, I would say there's about 6 or 7 that were starters on defense this year. And you could kind of massage it either way, however you wanted to do it. You could even go to 8 if you had Maben as a starter at the one corner spot towards the end of the season. And on offense, you got about 3 or 4. And some important ones on offense because they're at the position group that is, I think, pretty good, and that's the wide receiver group. So are you going to be able to keep, some names? Keelan Cole. Are you going to be able to keep DJ Chark? Are you going to want to keep Chris Conley? Those are all questions that you're going to have to look at, and the general manager is going to have to talk about with ownership and head coach and review the film and probably get a little history or background on these guys and find out who's a good fit for the type of culture that they're trying to establish. But defensively, the Jaguars struggled on defense this year. Make no mistake about it. So I wouldn't panic either about saying, okay, well, there's 6 or 7 or 8 starters on defense that are going to be free agents. A lot of those guys are, again, bubble-type starters. And the reality is that the Jaguars had a lot of bubble-type starters this year, bubble-type players as starters, I should correctly say. So, and look, the Jaguars are going to be flush with cap space. And also, there's going to be a lot of teams in the league that are trying to adjust to get under the cap and won't have the leg room, so to speak, that the Jaguars will have in free agency. So I don't think it'll be any issue for the Jaguars, but it's going to obviously depend on the opinion of the new leadership that gets hired.
I'd say the biggest name of those is Cam Robinson, left tackle, Logs. I mean, he's coming up. He's obviously a very important position when you have a new franchise quarterback back there that you like to keep upright and healthy. That'll be a huge decision to see if they, want to try to pay him or franchise him for a year to figure it out or just move on.
I got my list up here real quick, JP.
Okay.
I had to pull my list up, and go back away from the playoff record rushing combined yards we were talking about a little bit earlier.
That's right.
But yeah, Cam Robinson is right up there. The other one I think that's of note is Tyler Shatley. Look at the number of games that Brandon Linder has missed over the last number of years and how many that Tyler Shatley has had to take over as a starter, whether it be at center for Linder or even at guard at times, and he's done a very good job. So in a perfect world, you'd love to bring him back and have him as part of your rotation or part of your game day actives. But I think there's going to be some interest from outside on Tyler Shatley because he did do a good job while he was in there starting at guard and at center.
Well, I mean, at some point, if he's around here, you'd like to plug him in to start, right? I mean, in one of those positions, is he better starting as a center, as a guard, or what?
Yeah, but see, here's the problem, JP. Who are you going to take out?
Right.
Are you going to take Norwell out, who had arguably his best year as a pro, and who kind of garnered the nickname to where we were actually talking about his nickname this year, Big Nasty?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to take A.J. Cann out.
Nope.
A.J. Cann was as consistent as any offensive lineman that there is, and Linder is still better than Tyler Shatley. The one difference between Linder and Shatley is that Shatley has been very dependable on availability, and Linder has been injured. And so, I don't know how that's going to work out, but I think some team probably might have had their eye caught by Tyler Shatley this year. But it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
So it'd be probably smart for him to test the market.
Also,
anyway, just go out and test the market.
Well, look,
and then come back
JP,
later.
look, if you're a player, Cam Robinson, DJ Chark, Keelan Cole, why would you not want to test the market? The best premium that you get for your services is when you get multiple interested parties, so that people are willing to quote unquote bid for your services. And I've been in free agency. I've been in free agency twice in my career. Once I was a restricted free agent, but I was a free agent when I came to Jacksonville, and then when my first contract that I signed with the Jaguars expired, I had another opportunity in free agency and chose to come back with the Jaguars. But look, you always a team will sit there and tell you, you know what, we really love you, and this is our best offer, and we can't do any more, and then all of a sudden you go to free agency, and then all of a sudden the team that said, we can't go any more than that, all of a sudden finds a way to come up a little bit.
That's funny.
So free agency is not a bad thing for getting, taking care of the business side of things for a player.
In your not to get too personal, but in your last free agency run, were there other teams bidding on you, for lack of a better term? Or
Sure.
were the Jaguars the only team?
Yeah.
And what were those teams, if you'd like to disclose?
Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos had an interest, a pretty clear interest, right before my last year, but and had a familiar face out there. One of my former coaches with the Jets was there, and so he was like, hey, look, we want you to come to Denver. And I was like, man, I can't go to work for the enemy. I mean, we just got done playing them. I mean, come on, man, can't do it. But I mean, look, it was good to have the interest, and it makes you feel good because you get wanted, and it also kind of bumps the number up, I think, for everybody. And I don't remember exactly if the numbers got bumped up from that or not, but it doesn't hurt, I can tell you that. And so if you're any of these 27 guys are going to have an opportunity at free agency, the money's going to be a little tight because of the tightening of the belt around the National Football League with the drop in revenue this year because of COVID. So if their expectation is that they're going to, break the bank, it ain't happening. I think you're going to see a lot of shorter term deals with some players, I think, and in order for these players to get back maybe to when the revenue does bounce back, they can re-enter the market once again.
Let's come back in a moment and get into some of the bright spots in 2020. I know this will probably be a quick segment, but we'll get into it when we come back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Jaguars fans, whether it's on the field or in your finances, the key to success is a solid plan. From high-yield banking to home lending, into retirement and beyond, TIAA Bank offers solutions that can help you achieve your goals and make the most of your money. It's time for a plan. Start building your legacy today at TIAABank.com/Jaguars. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, equal housing lender, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Superior Fence and Rail knows about commercial fence services, from automatic gates to security fence and railing. Superior Fence and Rail's professional team delivers with great communication, trained installers, and quality products. Trust your next commercial project with a top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. Get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your commercial project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. You won't find a better deal to keep your ride clean than Scrubble's Flexible Service Car Wash. Start in the tunnel wash and experience state-of-the-art equipment while enjoying a soapy light show. Our quality soaps and solutions keep your vehicle streak-free. Every 3-minute car wash package comes with self-serve vacuuming, lint-free towels, window cleaner, and a free air freshener. Visit us at the St. John's Town Center, Fleming Island, and Atlantic Beach. And coming soon to Kernan and Atlantic. Trust the bow tie. You'll know quality once you arrive. Go Jags!
The best thing about working at Fair & Farah is all of the employees. We all work together. It's extremely enjoyable to come to work every day.
There's a common cause or goal. No matter what your job is, we're all there for the client.
We are dedicated to our clients 100%. We do everything it takes to maximize the value of their claims.
Fair & Farah is really the Farah family. When they choose us, they choose a family to fight for them and to protect them and to make sure that they're in a good place and that they have somebody on their side.
Farah and Farah, here for you, here for good. Jacksonville.
Welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour. Here's your host, JP Shadrick.
Here I am. Welcome back, Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Glad you're along with us today. A week after the 2020 regular season. Playoff games coming up this weekend. Super wild card weekend. 3 games each day, Saturday and Sunday. That should be fun. Looking forward to that.
Beautiful.
Doesn't get much
beautiful, better. Beautiful. I mean, shoot. It's the last week of deer season around these parts, JP,
okay.
And it's going to be tough. The good thing is that I have the NFL app on my Verizon phone.
Uh-huh.
So I'm actually going to take the phone to the deer stand with my earplugs and my extra battery charger, and I'm going to watch some football from the deer stand.
It's pretty good. I'm not a big deer hunter. Shocking, I know. But is it difficult to watch football and hunt deer at the same time? Are you like looking in 2 places? Like, what's the deal? How does that work?
It's not very good for, the big one might walk by.
That's what I'm saying,
like,
right?
Man, I can't believe they called that penalty on that. Are you kidding me? Review that play. And then you look up and you just see his rear end walk through the woods. You're like, oh, what happened?
Right. It doesn't seem to match.
Right.
It's probably not a good
That's
time.
all right, JP. It's there's a lot of downtime when you're sitting there waiting for, a nice opportunity to harvest a deer. And so sometimes you got some things to do, so why not watch NFL football, man? And here's the crazy thing about the NFL this weekend. I mean, isn't it on like all these different channels like Nickelodeon and like the Food Network? I mean, all these crazy channels.
Right. They're all over the place, which is, they're trying to get to different audiences, obviously, on different games. And so, hey,
I think
we'll
it's
see.
awesome.
Pretty cool. So there's a
I
lot
think
of
it's
football.
awesome.
And then Monday night, of course, the national championship game is on the schedule. So
I'm definitely going to watch that one too.
Hey, we're going to need some of that venison bean dip, by the way, speaking of deer hunting.
You like that, do you?
I'm going to need you to harvest a deer or the venison chili, one of the two. That's a request in my ear from Brent.
It's kind of funny about how many pro hunters that I have around my broadcast brothers, okay? And so for people that are out there listening, they might have been against hunting, but then they had a taste of Tara's venison chili or of Tara's 7-layer venison bean dip, and they have become instantly pro hunter. I like it.
Well, see, let's just, for the record, I've never had anything against hunting. I just don't hunt. But I like to eat.
Yeah, that's all good.
So
I've never been against a lot of things, JP, but I'm an American. I believe in that people should have the right to choose some of the things that they would like to do. It's a free country. You know, it's a bad country when people try to dictate what others should or should not do. That's when I become a non-fan of those people.
The Outdoor Show, Saturday mornings at 7 on 1010XL in Jacksonville. We'll have more hunting stories coming up. Let's touch on some of the bright spots. Yes, there are some bright spots for the 2020 version of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It gets no brighter this year, Logs, than James Robinson and what he did in an undrafted rookie year without an offseason program on the field. He came into training camp and blew the doors off the place, basically, and they cut Leonard Fournette, and all of a sudden he lives up to the expectation and beyond, well beyond.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, when the decision was made to cut Leonard Fournette, I refer back to Shad Khan's comments this week when he talked about he had control of the roster and he was all about facilitating the exit for players that didn't want to be here and about how he wanted to fix a toxic locker room, and Leonard Fournette was one of those guys that was shipped out. So, but also, which I think that takes courage to do that, because you're taking a leap of faith by cutting a guy that was a high pick and a proven commodity to commit to a young man who was an undrafted guy that, okay, the local scout in that area is telling you, man, this guy's pretty good. You know, and the only thing he probably doesn't have is great speed, but he's got great balance, he's got strength, he's got great vision. And you're sitting there as a coach, I'm sure, or as, you know, the guy that's sitting there, you know, do we cut Leonard Fournette, even though he's maybe a bad guy or not great for our locker room and he wants out of here? Well, heck, I mean, it takes a leap of faith to be able to commit to a guy like James Robinson. So I credit the coaching staff and the organization on that one, because they called something there that none of us saw, because we obviously didn't have the ability to watch closely with the COVID situation and everything else. And we saw that James Robinson looked good at times, but when you don't have any preseason games, how do you know? You know, that's where the faith comes in. So credit the coaching staff on that one.
Yeah, I remember Doug Marrone saying that, you know, we're taking the numbers and the names off the jerseys, as cliche as it gets, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Doug about that, about James Robinson. It was about that time, and they had made the decision to part ways with Leonard Fournette. And I remember, you know, he came out and he said that, you know, we want to. He essentially said something to the effect of, we want the best players to play. And a lot of people took that as Doug just totally blowing smoke up everybody's rear end, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean, everybody's like, oh, there's no way James Robinson is what's best for this team. He's not better than Leonard Fournette. Doug's lying. You know, this is a crock.
They're tanking.
Well, you know what?
Oh, they're tanking.
They're tanking. You know what?
Yeah.
It was the right decision.
Yeah,
he's the better running back, and so all those people that were downing on Doug Marrone for saying those comments, you might want to take what you said back, because he was spot on and he was dead honest, and you didn't believe him.
We'll come back in a moment and touch on some of the other offensive playmakers for this team. There are a few that could stick around and make an impact with a new quarterback on the way, most likely. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on Jaguars Radio.
You won't find a better deal to keep your ride clean than Scrubble's Flexible Service Car Wash. Start in the tunnel wash and experience state-of-the-art equipment while enjoying a soapy light show. Our quality soaps and solutions keep your vehicle streak-free. Every 3-minute car wash package comes with self-serve vacuuming, lint-free towels, window cleaner, and a free air freshener. Visit us at the St. John's Town Center, Fleming Island, and Atlantic Beach. And coming soon to Kernan and Atlantic. Trust the bow tie. You'll know quality once you arrive. Go Jags!
Hey Jags fans, did you know you can ride your bike to every Jaguars home game at TIAA Bank Field and valet park it for free? That's right. Stop by our bicycle check-in tent, sponsored by Alert Today Florida, near Gate 1 at TIAA Bank Field. An on-duty ZenCog bike professional will park your bike and ensure it's secured during the game. When the game's over, return your claim ticket and pick up your bike. For cycling safety tips, visit alerttodayflorida.com. Remember, Alert Today, alive tomorrow, because safety doesn't happen by accident.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour. Here's your host, JP Shadrick.
We're back. Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. The week after the 2020 regular season and a change at head coach. Doug Marrone out. Interviews are underway. The general manager gig is open as well, and there's a lot going on around the Jaguars organization these days. We're continuing our conversation logs about some of the offensive playmakers. We're going to leave the defense out of this tonight just because, I mean, come on. They had some issues this year, let's say. But on the offensive side, there are some guys out there, obviously, that you have high hopes for. DJ Chark, one of those that, there was a lot of talk early in the year, pay him the day after the season, but the statistics this year were not quite – some of the body language stuff, let's see him with a new quarterback, I think, in my opinion. Then you got Laviska Shenault, who really came on strong in the last 2 weeks of the season, of all things. He was banged up a lot. Those are two names that really pop out that can be around here for a while. And if you add one to that somehow, or a couple to that, with a new quarterback and the offensive line, for the most part, staying intact, and the run game, hey, all of a sudden you have what could be a pretty nice offense.
Sure. And I will say this, JP, you need to find a way to get a dynamic playmaker at tight end. There might be not a better best friend for a young quarterback than a really good tight end. And that's the short throws. He's a guy that can grow with a young quarterback. And you had one that you drafted a couple years ago, but he hasn't seen the field yet.
Yep.
And so in my mind, you still go out and you stay aggressive and you try to find a guy. And that position is extremely important. And it's extremely important because of the matchups. And as we've seen with the great tight ends, one in San Francisco and obviously in Kansas City with Kelsey, his numbers have been incredible. Kittle's numbers 2 years ago were incredible. I mean, these are great players, but they create really tough matchups for defensive coordinators. And the reason why is that defensive coordinators don't know how to treat one of those tight ends, Kittle, Kelsey type. Do they treat him as a wide receiver or do you treat him as a blocker? Because both of them do both jobs very well. And so you kind of get in a little bit of to use a fancy word, JP, that they didn't even teach you at Alabama, a conundrum. So you're not quite sure what to do. Do you play nickel or do you play base defense? And that creates a little competitive advantage for offensive coordinators. So I'd love to see that. Love to see another young running back come in that's got great speed. And I'm talking home run speed because I think that's the only component of James Robinson's game that he doesn't have is elite breakaway home run speed. Mm-hmm. And the continued development of the wide receivers. Laviska Shenault trying to find a way to stay healthier. For DJ Chark to continue to develop and continue to work, and also for him to get healthy and back on track. And I think I have confidence in DJ that he will. just because I know the type of person and how hard of a worker that he is.
It'd be nice to see all those guys coming. I'm with you on the tight end thing. I mean, that can change a lot of different
I thought you were going to say
the conundrum.
Well, I thought you were going to say you were with me on that they don't teach conundrum at
I was
Alabama.
going to let it go, but that's okay. I mean, I'm just glad that you can spell it for me, Logs.
CONUNDRUM. How about that?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Is that right? Let me Google it real quick.
That's right. That's right enough for right now. Let's come back in a moment. We'll continue our conversation. The GM and coach search continues. We've got plenty ahead as we wind down here. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Radio Network.
At ViStar, we believe in better convenience, so members can bank any way they want, whether it's at a branch, on a mobile device, or at one of more than 20,000 fee-free ATMs across North America. We believe that people have better things to do with their time. If you believe that convenience is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
The wait for the holidays is over, America. It's time to make some joy. And we're here to help with the Ford Built for the Holidays sales event. We're offering the best deals of the season across the Ford lineup, so you can road trip with the whole family comfortably in a Ford Expedition. Bring home a tree that's bigger than you ever have with a built Ford Tough F-150. And find new ways to make the holidays bright this year when you visit your local Ford dealer. The joy is up to you, America, so let's get to it. Ford, built for the holidays.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Jaguars fans, whether it's on the field or in your finances, the key to success is a solid plan. From high-yield banking to home lending, into retirement and beyond, TIAA Bank offers solutions that can help you achieve your goals and make the most of your money. It's time for a plan. Start building your legacy today at TIAABank.com/Jaguars. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, equal housing lender, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Looking to be your own boss in a proven business model? Do you like construction and working outdoors? Superior Fence and Rail is franchising in new markets all over the Southeast, from Birmingham to Savannah and even a few more markets in Florida. Come win with Superior Fence and Rail and redefine the fence industry. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail to learn more about starting a fence franchise today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. Committed to the team, committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
Welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour. Here's your host, JP Shadrick.
We're back. Jaguars Happy Hour continues. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Heading into the offseason. We're a week in. Well, less than a week in. The last game was Sunday, of course. And there's already a lot going on, Logs. Head coach search, GM search. Trevor Lawrence declared for the draft this week. There's a lot J stuff happening in the city council today, which is, we'll leave that for the news anchors and reporters of the world. But at some point there could be news down the line on that in the next, if not today, then early next week. It's a lot changing, happening, going on around the Jaguars on and off the field right now, Logs.
Yeah, a lot, and I think it creates for a sense of excitement, and I think that's great. And I think the one thing that you have when you have a team that only won one game is that you hope that you have hope, and I think with the expected drafting of Trevor Lawrence, with the excitement of who's going to come in and coach this football team, and also who's going to be making the decisions of who is going to be able to say, hey, look, we're going to draft Trevor Lawrence, and then also who's going to be determining who else this football team draft. I mean, these are all exciting things, and I think it's been a while since this organization has had kind of a sense or a reset or a refresh and the excitement to go along with it. I think it's had reset, but not the excitement to go along with it. And the prospect of drafting a quarterback first overall, I mean, this is a great opportunity. It can be potentially franchise altering, and it's exciting. I mean, look, JP, I'm still watching Trevor Lawrence. I'm watching the University of Miami game now. So it'll be like commercial breaks. I'm like right back down to my iPad watching Trevor Lawrence. It's great stuff.
Is it the Miami game from this year?
Yeah, this is all this year stuff, man, because there's like hardly anybody in the stands. Of course, South Carolina, they had limited people in the stands, but he threw some beautiful deep balls in this game.
Yeah,
and I'm not I still got a ways to go yet.
They played well. That was a big ball game, and it was a top 10 matchup, and Lawrence had 3 touchdown passes in that game, 29 of 41 passing. Wasn't exceptionally sharp. I mean, there was some, he had some incompletions, but they ended up blowing him out of the water. ETN had 2 touchdowns on the ground. Lawrence ran for a score as well, Logs, in that one.
Yeah, and the score that he ran on a little read option, I just got done watching it, read option play, and he fakes the handoff, and then he's got one guy to beat, or appears to be one guy, and then that guy doesn't really get a good piece of him, but as he's going in, a second guy actually gets a piece of his head.
I remember that.
And when Trevor Lawrence stands up, he literally like spikes the ball and gets in the guy's face a little bit. I like it because, the shot to the head when he was already crossing the end zone, I like it. Give me a little fire, man. Give me a little fire. I like fire.
That's what happens when you play the University of Miami. You got to give it right back to them sometimes. The Canes, man, those guys. How they go.
Let's see if I can get this play here on the goal line.
Oh gosh, here we go.
Here it is, JP.
Okay.
Well, I'll probably we'll get in trouble from the standpoint of this is college film. And
I don't think we can show that.
But
put that down.
I don't think we can, so I better not.
You better put that.
That's the rushing touchdown right there.
Put that down. Trust
cool
us.
Stuff.
He scored, and he talked to the guy.
Yeah, everybody. First of all, everybody on the radio is going, dude.
What are you talking about?
We can't see you. Okay, it's radio, and then people that are watching on social media are sitting there going,
lean it again to the screen. Extreme close up. Oh, man. All right, let's come back. We've got one final segment ahead. Our final thoughts. We'll look ahead to the Super Wild Card weekend as well. And this is Jaguars Happy Hour on Jaguars Radio.
The best thing about working at Farrah & Farrah is all of the employees. We all work together. It's extremely enjoyable to come to work every day.
There's a common cause or goal. No matter what your job is, we're all there for the client.
We are dedicated to our clients 100%. We do everything it takes to maximize the value of their claims.
Farrah & Farrah is really the Farrah family. When they choose us, they choose a family to fight for them and to protect them and to make sure that they're in a good place and that they have somebody on their side.
Farrah & Farrah, here for you, here for good. Jacksonville.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Jaguars fans, did you know that with Drizzly, you can get Tito's handmade vodka delivered to your door in under 60 minutes? Well, you can. And now they're giving all fans $10 off their first order. Use the code JAGS10 at checkout. Just download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com and make sure you're all set to mix it up with Tito's handmade vodka for the perfect game day. That's DRIZLY.com. And remember to use the special code JAGS10 to save $10 on your first order. 80 proof Tito's handmade vodka. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in-ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Hi folks, Frank Frangie here for the best barbecue in town. That is Bono's. Head to Bono's today. 15 locations on the First Coast and 6 more at TIAA Bank Field. You see, Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You want great barbecue, you want Bono's. Plenty of parking, clean family restaurants, and oh, by the way, the best barbecue you have ever had. So if you want great barbecue, head to Bono's today, the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back to Jaguars Happy Hour. Here's your host, JP Shadrick.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, and we've got a little less than 5 minutes to go of the program. JP Shadrick and Jeff Lageman, glad you're along with us today. Thank you for joining us, and if you've just joined us, this, of course, was the Doug Marrone Show, and Doug Marrone was relieved of his duties on Monday, and we wished him the best at the start of the program, but now it's on to find a new head coach and a new general manager and a franchise quarterback, and that process is underway. Yes.
And we need to find a new host for next week. And I hear we have the prospects of a really good one.
We've got,
we're going to make an upgrade next week since JP is going to be absent.
Yeah, that's
so
exactly
Miss
what
Ashlyn Sullivan.
That's exactly what it's called in the
over
business.
And driving the bus.
It's exactly what the business calls it, is an upgrade. Yes, indeed. And Ashlyn will be here next week for both hours of Jaguars Happy Hour, 4 o'clock locally in Jacksonville, then 5 o'clock on the Jaguars Radio Network. We appreciate her stepping in, so I'll miss you next week, Logs, but we'll be back with you.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
Yeah, probably not.
No, you won't.
I've been around you enough. I need to go see my family, so I'm good.
Yeah, JP, the old BS meter just went bing.
That's right. So some good playoff games Saturday and Sunday this week, and we won't hit them all here, but I must say I'm looking forward – first off, to the Rams-Seahawks, just because the Jags need the Seahawks to win and the Rams to lose to help the draft status. That's my Saturday game I'm watching. And then the Ravens-Titans matchup. If you like running football, that's your game, and that's mine.
I like running. I like the running football, and because Derrick Henry is a back like no other with the stiff arm, and then you've got the electricity of Lamar Jackson. I mean, you get kind of two different types of runners. One that's like electric and fast and blinding, and then the other one is sheer power and brute strength and also speed and finesse. I mean, Derrick Henry is a combination of all of them. That to me is going to be must-watch TV. But I mean, every game, I think for the most part, is going to be a really good game. I think Chicago is going to get hammered. I think Indianapolis is going to get hammered. I don't know if those games are going to be necessarily close, but I'm hoping just to be entertained. You know, that's the beautiful thing about not having a dog in the race or a dog in the hunt, is that you can sit back and just sit there and look at the screen and go, you know what, entertain me, give me good football. And for the most part, the NFL provides it during playoff week.
I must say, though, Lugs, I'd rather have a dog in the hunt, for being honest.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, it's
Let them watch
way
us.
better to have a dog in the hunt, you know? Look, we haven't had a dog in the hunt much, JP.
Right.
And that's why we are where we are. So the goal is to have this dog hunting in January in future years. So let's all just, train our dog and get him ready for next year maybe, right?
Sure. How many dogs have you trained to hunt? I'm scared to ask this question.
Well, I don't know. There's one dog that can hunt pretty good, and his name is Trevor. And so we're gonna work on that. And look, I'm not saying the Jaguars are going to the playoffs. Let's slow down. Let's not give ourselves a speeding ticket. Okay. Again, he's not going to be a savior. There's a lot of good things that need to happen alongside the drafting of a quarterback first overall. But it's exciting, JP. I mean, here's the thing: how many texts have you received since the season ended, or should I say to go back since prior to the last game of the season?
Yeah.
So since the 15th game ended,
yeah.
People texted you about a bad football team excited that you got the first overall pick.
From people I had not heard from in a long, long time. They came out of the weeds.
Exactly.
So it's a big deal.
Exactly.
The Jaguars are on the radar again. Logs, we'll talk to you in a couple weeks. Ashlyn Sullivan in next week to host this program. Thank you for listening and for watching. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Radio Network.